It's normal for man to be concerned about the big questions, but more so for me, I think, because I'm a student of the humanities. And so one of the big questions that linger in my mind is, what is happiness? Quid est felicitas? I tried searching for happiness in ideas and abstract notions, though this only led me to unsatisfactory answers. Was it simply the possession of the good, as Aristotle said? If I were to be contented with a philosophical response, then yes, it's true that happiness is a possession of the good. Even though this may be the philosophical answer to the question, I started to realize that the question can't be answered by abstract ideas, but by living it. I figure that faith is the means to find true happiness, because faith is what incarnates what is aspired for. This revelation turned my memory back to the words of the gospel. Happy are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. But who are these happy people, poor in spirit? It occurred to me that it was those who best understand spiritual childhood, a filial relationship that emerges from the neediness toward God, for those who were at the final stretch of their lives. And that's the aged, the elderly, especially the neglected ones. It was an epiphany. I had to make a way to visit a home for the aged, a home where spiritual childhood suffused the atmosphere, which is exactly where I was expecting to find my answer to the meaning of happiness. So I searched the internet looking for a place I could make a visit to the elderly, and I stumbled across one called Happy Nest, which was coincidentally a play of words for happiness. My joy couldn't be contained. I was compelled to invite my friends and encourage them to come along with me so they could discover with me what I was seeking to discover. For true joy, which is what moved me at that moment, is never closed in on itself, but spills over to others, just as a vessel overflows when it's filled to the brim. Such was my joy. So we scheduled a visit to Happy Nest the soonest and made our way there. When we arrived, they were waiting for us, and we met them with great anticipation. But after speaking with a few of them, I was utterly shocked to learn that my assumption was wrong. Not all the elderly had the answers to the meaning of happiness. Some of those with whom I spoke admitted they were sad and depressed and lonely, so opposed to what I expected. It pained me to hear them share their stories. None of what they shared seemed to provide any hint of happiness. Even their eyes spoke of the absence of happiness. Eventually, we had to bid farewell. But something curious seemed to have occurred as we left. Their countenances radiated a suggestion of happiness, something we didn't see in their faces when we arrived there earlier that day. And this made me ponder deeply. Why was it that, after having admitted their unhappy state, they sent us off with a pleasant air indicating happiness? I didn't understand this. I couldn't. So I brought it up in a chat with a priest and asked for advice. He told me of a beautiful reality that remained completely hidden from me until that moment. That happiness, though it is a personal project, is reached through an interpersonal dimension. Happiness is deeply personal, something very immanent, but is at the same time a concern of and for others. It's a concern that is manifested in being with another. And whenever we be with another, it becomes much clearer to us and others in what direction we should orient ourselves toward happiness. And this is precisely the point where we are asked to endeavor in self-giving. For self-giving is indispensable to genuine happiness. It's only when I give myself to other as gift, and without any expectation, others give themselves to me as gift, that the road to happiness begins.